Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jensen. I just wanted to take some time to go through the course syllabus, navigate the course, show you some of our textbooks, and help you figure out where everything is located in the class. So this is our splash page, the professional development and workplace readiness. And so you'll always kind of start here. You've probably already noticed that orientation is where you go, and obviously we have the welcome to class video and the orientation video here to work through the syllabus. So those are just a few things to get started. When you navigate the course, you'll want to just use the module navigation down here, and that's the easiest way to do it. So let's look at a module first, and then we'll jump into the syllabus shortly. So this is Module 1, Introduction to Sociology and Criminology Careers. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff in this module. Keep in mind that every module in this class is 2 weeks worth of work. So I don't want you to see all that there is to do in this module and think, oh my goodness, I have to get this done by Friday and she's buried me. That is not the case. So realize that there is 2 weeks worth of material in here and you have to kind of divide it up and do half of it one week and the other half during the other week. And it'll be pretty obvious what to tackle when, because I've set up the deadlines in that chronological order so you can kind of see what to move into next. And I also make recommendations to you as well as far as a strategy on how to go about the course. So don't forget to read the introduction to the module, which kind of tells you where we're at. And I like to kind of steal quiz and exam questions out of there too. So do not skip that part. But in a module, you'll see a list of objectives of what we're going to be accomplishing in the module. And then below that, you'll see a list of readings. And then sometimes I have some optional readings down here too, or some active links that you might want to check out if you particularly want to work on this area. And then below that, you will see our lecture videos. So you can click on the image or the actual link to go launch the lecture. These are largely available on YouTube. So you can start and stop or skip or go back any way you would like. And then below each image, you'll find the PDF slides for that particular lecture. If you find that a link is not currently active on a lecture, it's because I'm still uploading it. So I have to have time to process that video. So again, reach out if you have links that are not working or you're waiting on a link. I publish things as quickly as possible. So again, thank you for your patience with me as far as kind of getting all the pieces out. But then underneath all the lectures and videos, you will see activities. So this is something that needs to be done during the 2-week module, Module 1. And then underneath that, you will see assignments. So you kind of just scroll from top to bottom. And I usually put the due dates for each assignment, and I'll tell you complete these assignments in the following order. So it gives you the timelines as to when everything is due. But just to get our feet underneath us for week 1, let's go through some more detail as to what we're doing in Module 1. So we're going to be doing a discussion board, introducing yourself to your classmates. We will be completing a self-assessment assignment where we're going into our personality profiles and seeing how we are hardwired and what makes us tick. And then after you do that, you'll be prepared to do the personality profile discussion board. And then finally, as an end of module activity, you will be prepared to do quiz 1. So let's get more into the syllabus, the textbooks, and again, Module 1. So here's a link to the personality type indicator. There are lots of different websites that do what's called the Myers-Briggs personality type test. You may have taken this in another class or maybe with an employer. I tell people it's good to take a couple of times because sometimes assessing ourselves is hard and we're not maybe as accurate as we used to be. You don't tend to change drastically over time a whole lot. We have a very strong sense of self even by about age 8, believe it or not. But it is good to have a current representation because you might not remember exactly what your type indicator was, and we want to make sure we match it accordingly because we're going to be developing a career plan with this information. So let's go back up to the readings. You probably just saw, what? She wants me to read 7 chapters? What is that? Let me take a little time out for a moment. Okay, so right here, this is the book Do What You Are. This is a very easy to read book. This is the first book you need to put your hands on for this class. Okay, So really easy to get on Amazon, or there might be some online versions, some e-reader versions available. But again, this is not like heavy duty reading. It's something that you could read basically, and just presents a lot of information across the personalities. You could read it. These 7 chapters you could probably read in like 1 or 2 afternoons at the most. Maybe even just an hour, maybe 2 hours. 7 chapters, 2 hours. That's how light this reading is. These chapters are not terribly long. They're maybe like 7 to 10 pages. They're super short. Okay. I want you to get into this deeply because you have an assignment that you're going to be working on for it. So use this kind of as your guidebook to the assignment. And I point you in the direction you're supposed to go and what chapter you want to use. Most of this book is specific personality profiles of other people that you won't really read. You're really only going to be looking at your own. But if you have relatives, bosses, coworkers, friends, neighbors that you want to maybe reference as well, they are all in here for you. So realize that the vast majority of this book are individual profiles that you're going to be using. The rest of it is just learning how to work within your profile. So I don't want you to see this big thick book and get super intimidated. Once you start flipping through it, you realize it's kind of built more like a reference manual. And the reading is a lot of fun and really light. And it's written in kind of a very friendly, humorous way. So please do not be intimidated by reading 7 chapters of this book. It's like maybe that much reading at the most. It's not very much. Okay, so that is the personality profile book. The other 2 books we're going to use in this class, and maybe I'll stay widescreen for us. This is the next book we're going to be using. So if you're trying to ship your books in a certain order, the next one you would want to be getting is the Miniature Guide to Critical Thinking by Richard and Linda Elder. So this book's been around a long time. This is the latest edition, the 8th edition. You don't want to get a prior edition because we are using the 8th. And this is really a guidebook that has all kinds of diagrams and tools that you can actually use professionally well beyond this class. So this is something you'd want to keep in your desk at work to kind of prompt you through some critical thinking that you can use to make decisions in your organization. So again, this is not like heavy duty reading, but we're going to use this to develop our critical thinking skills in this class. And again, this is a very widely used book. You may have used it in another class. If you already have a copy, great. If not, no big deal. This isn't very expensive, pretty easy to get, but we'll be using this kind of toward the middle part of the class. The last book that you need to get is this book, the only grant writing book you'll ever need. So this is the book we're going to be using at the last part of the course that's really going to help us with your grant writing skills. So you leave this class with a skill in hand that you can put on your resume of something you know how to do. So these are the 3 main books you'll use for class. Again, this looks large and intimidating, but it's a very kind of easy to read, friendly, very visual type of book with charts and stuff like that. So it's not super heavy duty academic reading. So I just want you to keep that in mind. So just make sure you get the right editions and you get these books ordered because you will be referencing these quite a bit. And I also pull a lot of quiz questions out of these readings. So keep that in mind. All right. So moving back into the module, so I'll give you your reading list at the beginning of each module. Again, don't try to tackle it all in a day or in a week. You can space it out and kind of do it over the 2-week period that the module lasts. Let's go back over to home. And again, we only have 8 modules. Each module is 16 weeks. Each module stretches across the 16-week semester and lasts 2 weeks apiece. So just kind of space yourself out that way. I have one other recommendation that you may find handy. So I often go to UF and print out the academic calendar, right? So this is fall semester, spring semester, and summer. And it basically has the finals week in blue, the semester start date, add drop week, holidays. And what I do is I'll actually mark and say, okay, this is module 1, this is module 2, module 3, module 4. So on my calendar, you can see it says 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, and so forth. So that way you can say I should be halfway done with module 1 during this week and halfway done with module 2 during this week. Okay, but again, approximately 2 weeks per module. You may find this as a handy tool to keep track of what module we're in. Of course, I will send you reminders in the meantime when we get ready to finish up a module and start a new one. Again, I will try to publish material as often as I possibly can in advance, and so that way if you wish to work ahead, you can. But again, going into syllabus, so this is, again, my main contact information. There's that famous Google Voice number that I promised you, so you can call me or text me if you need to, and certainly my email address. Okay, so below here is the course summary. So now you have a list of all of the items we're going to be doing in class and all the due dates. All of these are linked. They're deep linked in the class, but they are not all published yet. So if you click on one of the links, you may or may not find that content available yet, especially things that are happening later in the course. So again, I just invite your patience with me as I get this material published to you as we go. But you still have your plan in place, so you know, generally speaking, things are due on Thursdays and Sundays. There are a few occasional Tuesdays when things are due, but maybe twice in the whole semester. So just kind of keep in your head, deadlines genuinely happen Thursday and Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. If we go into the syllabus, we'll briefly review some of how the class works. And I'm going to expand my view for just a moment so we can see the syllabus better. All right, that's better. So this is just a document viewer where you can see the full-blown syllabus. Again, this is our course and the course description. So essentially, we're going to be doing professional mentoring, coaching, and developing our critical thinking skills as you approach employment, advancement, promotion, and/or graduate study. You'll improve your abilities in describing your accomplishments, increasing your professional networking, providing polished responses in interviews and meetings, developing proposals for projects, and specifically, we'll be able to identify strengths through our own personal assessment. Again, that's the personality profile that we're doing. We'll also gain cultural competencies and talk about diversity and working in teams. And certainly we will better understand some of just the basic things like finance and fundraising and administration and budgets. We're going to do a whole section on that just to kind of get after the business side of a lot of organizations. We'll provide a community assessment so we can do better outreach and advocacy for potential employers and organizational partnerships. The course also teaches some leadership skills, and we will look at some motivational speakers to kind of get our juices flowing and get excited about things that are kind of hard to get excited about, like change management and stuff like that. We'll also do grant proposal writing skills, so that's the thing I'm most excited about. And we will introduce to you evaluation research and those kinds of things that get into data analysis and social research, which most employers need. Finally, we'll go over those major industries again for sociology and criminology, which includes teaching, social research, public sector government, data analysis, human resources, nonprofits, and criminal justice. I say this many times throughout my lectures. We have a whole class for you to do criminal justice careers. It's taught by Dr. Brooke, and I highly recommend that class if you want to go in more detail into criminal justice career skills and preparedness. So again, office hours are available Monday through Friday, 10 to 1. I'll do a lunch hour with you if you would like, or if you want to do something in the evening or on the weekends, you just have to schedule that with me in advance. I'm usually around. Email and texting is usually the quickest way to reach me. Use your good email and texting manners. Again, not super late night stuff, but that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And again, happy to do Zoom meetings and those kind of things. This is my background on my professional bio, so I just left that there for you to read at your perusal. These are our required textbooks. So again, The Miniature Guide to Critical Thinking by Linda and Richard Elder, The Only Grant Writing Book You'll Ever Need by Karsh and Fox, and Do What You Are by The Tigers and Barbara Barron. So make sure you grab these 3 books. And again, it's fine if you use an ebook or order from Amazon or the bookstore. Just make sure you get your hands on them. Overall, our course and learning objectives. This goes into a lot of what we already talked about, so I'm going to let you review that as well. But this is a big deal, a course that we've been wanting to offer for a long time, so I'm super excited about what we're going to accomplish together. So here's the course pacing. If you're trying to figure out when Module 1 begins and ends, this is kind of an approximate beginning and ending date that I mapped out. So Module 1 is January 11th through the 24th. Module 2 is the 25th through the 7th, so it kind of ends on a Sunday, begins on a Monday. Okay, so these are the 2-week periods for each module. You may find this really helpful in your planning. Okay, so those are all 8 modules. And we're starting out with Intro to Sociology and Criminology Careers. Then we're getting into hard and soft skills on the job market, things like resumes, cover letters, interviewing, and also labor statistics and forecasting. Then we'll get into leadership and organizational change, community engagement and advocacy, critical thinking and strategic planning. Then again, administration, budgets, fundraising, intro to grant writing, and finally, program evaluation and social research. So we don't have as much time in Module 8 to finish up the course, but we have just enough time to get into that area. You'll notice that is closer to just a little over a week long. So that's the only module that's a little bit noticeably shorter. Again, by way of reminder, most assignments are due on Tuesdays and Thursdays Thursdays and Sundays with a couple of Tuesdays. We will be doing quizzes in the class just over the material that we've covered. These are open book, open note. You must use HonorLock proctoring to do so and Google Chrome as your browser. So again, here in the syllabus are the phone numbers and emails for support and how to prepare your settings for the quiz. And I also have a practice quiz for you to test your settings prior to going into the quiz, so that way you have everything just right and don't get caught off guard if you're trying to open notes electronically and stuff like that. Make sure you study for the quizzes. You will not have time to look up every single thing, but I allow you to at least reference a few things that you're uncertain about. We have discussion boards. Of course we have discussion boards in this class, right? So you have to introduce yourself. We're going to go deep into those personality profiles that we discover. We need to talk about labor statistics and the realities of the job market as it exists today, because we don't want to go in blindly thinking there's all these jobs in this sector when the market has changed. We'll also do one on motivational speakers and some of our takeaways from those when we go into leadership. We'll do social media and networking. We'll do a discussion board on planning my career, industry finance, building logic models. That's going to go into the grants. You'll actually learn what a logic model is. And then we will do an evaluation research discussion at the end. Okay, so those are our discussion boards. It's not just busy work. They are very methodical with what they're after. So make sure you read the instructions thoroughly before posting. And you will be required to respond to other posts and integrate that into your post. So we do have a few short writing assignments and papers. Of course, the big ones are the grant proposal that you're going to write and the self-assessment. Those are the really, really big ones. We're going to work on your resume and cover letter. We'll do some interviewing skills. We'll work on case studies and organizational change. We'll do a community needs assessment. We will do some career planning, again, kind of piggybacking off your self-assessment. So a lot of these things you're doing early in the class, we're going to circle back to in kind of module 5. We'll do a critical thinking assignment and a fundraising assignment. So again, super practical skills in this class that should be useful to you as you develop professionally and prepare to enter the workforce or change your job in the workforce. You also need to do the plagiarism assignment, making sure that you understand how to cite properly and attribute your work. Grading. So there's 415 points in the class. We have 8 quizzes, 9 discussion boards, 8 assignments, and the anti-plagiarism assignment. So the grade is spread out mostly over the assignments and activities, because to me those are the things you really need to keep with you even after this class, that you can refer back to, that can be useful to you ongoing. And then the quizzes and discussion boards make up the other part of the course. Here's the grading breakdown. And again, policies on grading. These are the course policies. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in here because it just talks about how we use Canvas, making sure you don't share your password, so on and so forth. And we have, again, email etiquette and those kind of things, student rights and responsibilities, campus resources like the Health and Wellness Center, You Matter, We Care, the Writing Studio, the Tutoring Center. They're all available to you here in the syllabus. If you do require accommodations for class, make sure you register with the Disability Resource Center and provide me your documentation so I can put those accommodations in as soon as possible. This class is 100% online. So attendance is kind of, and it's asynchronous. So basically turning in your work shows me you're actively participating in class. So again, be academically honest in your work. If you have issues come up or disruptions with assignments, please let me know and we'll work through those as best we can. This is a link to the university recognized reasons. If you have like a documented illness or a death in the family, military service, jury duty, those kinds of things. Certainly I want your feedback, especially since this is a course that's new. And we have our COVID-19 policy for when we're actively recording classes. That doesn't necessarily apply to our class. Zoom expectations right down here. So essentially, make sure that you're dressed appropriately, your screen is mindful of what's behind you, and that you are on time, that you have proper etiquette, and so forth. So these are just some guidelines for when you participate in Zoom with your instructor, when we meet, or so forth. Finally, just a reiteration of our course schedule. So that's available here as well if you want to use it for calendaring. So that's essentially the syllabus and the course. So again, since this course is under construction, in development, and a brand new offering for this semester, it's going to be dynamic. I'll do the best I can to announce changes, announce new content, publish as soon as possible so that you can get a chance to see everything. I'm very, very serious about not penalizing my students for things I fail to provide. So I will make sure that I give you extensions if you need them, if content wasn't available at the proper time. Please be active and communicate early and ahead of time. If you're having an issue with something, chances are it might be affecting someone else too. So just be brave, step up, say something. I don't take it personal. I'm very friendly and fluid in kind of how I design and create things. So don't be afraid to reach out. Welcome to class, and I really look forward to this semester. Bye-bye.